Since tapos na tayo sa objective refraction, subjective na ang ating focus ngayon, ang subjective refraction, ang sabi dito, should be performed under conditions that simulate the patient's normal viewing situation as closely as possible. Okay? Itong dalawang paragraph na to will be the basis of how it is supposed to be during refraction. Na saan ba mostly exposed ang patient na klase ng environment? Hindi ba well-lit environment? So, yan din yung environment na meron ka during subjective refraction. Okay? So, it's not gonna be a refraction room that's a little bit dark because it can influence pupil size. Kasi sa pupil size, it has to be what the size of the patient's pupil is under normal room condition. Okay? So, all of those will have to be observed. Kasi alam natin na pag-aralan na natin na ang VA, maraming factors that can influence VA. So, nandyan na yung pupil size, nandyan na yung luminance, di ba? So kapag kayo nagsa-subjective refraction, you make sure that you have the ideal room setting. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay? Now, subjective refraction has 3 phases. Okay? Tatlo. Ang una mong ginagawa during subjective refraction is to identify the spherical component of the prescription. That's what you do, right? O, siyempre, nauuna talaga, kumukuha ka ng VA. O pagkatapos ng VA, ano nang gagawin mo? Di ba magpa-fog ka, unfog, di ba? That's determining what the spherical component is. Now, some patients will only have a spherical ametropia. So, the second phase will not apply. But for those patients with astigmatism, the second phase is done. Okay, because the second phase is the determination of the cylindrical component, meaning to say you are now determining astigmatic correction. And then lastly, of course, is balancing. Now, normally, when we do refraction, di ba, ang endpoint natin lagi would be to do duochrome, right? Duochrome. Ang duochrome ay pwedeng pang checking ng final sphere component. Okay? Teka lang. Pang-check ng final sphere component ninyo, checking if the spherical value is correct or not. Okay? Meron din kasing gamit ang duochrome aside from just checking the spherical component. Okay? You may also use this as a balancing procedure. It is applicable. Okay, you use this during balancing procedure. Now, kung ang checking of the spherical correction sa pamamagitan ng duochrome is a monocular endpoint test, tama, monocular ginagawa ang duochrome, it can also be used as a binocular endpoint test, which is balancing. Okay? So, hindi na ninyo ito ginagawa, pero during the practical exam, I would like you to apply this para nare-retain kung paano ginagawa ang balancing. Okay? Either yan na balancing with fog or no fog, and balancing as using the duochrome as a binocular endpoint test. Okay? I-discuss natin yon sa dulo. Okay? So, naiintindihan na tatlo ang pinagdadaanan during subjective refraction. Una ay inaalam natin ang spherical component. Tapos, kung halimbawa, spherical lang ang ametropia ng pasyente, then we proceed to the third phase, which is balancing. But if your patient has astigmatic correction, astigmatic error, then you go check the second phase or you go through the second phase after the first phase, and then after yung second, tsaka kayo magpo-proceed sa balancing. Ganun po yung phasing ng paggawa ng subjective refraction. Okay? Naintindihan? Now, this is just a picture showing you the equivalent, okay, refractive RX or yung correction na nag-e-equate sa kung ano man ang visual acuity meron ang pasyente. Okay, so this is expressed in meters, so metric acuity ito. Ito yung kaakibat or siya yung ano man tawag doon? Yung equivalent. Kapag meron siyang ganitong VA, ito yung equivalent na prescription. Okay? So hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon mag-a-apply ito, ha. Okay? Pero ito po ay estimation lamang. Now this is what also the equivalent VA is or will be if ito yung astigmatic correction, tapos ito yung corresponding VA niya. Okay, so estimation lang din po ito. And then of course, you can measure the myopia of the patient if you know its far point or his or her far point. Naibigay ko na ito sa quiz natin last time. Okay, this will only apply to myopia. That if the patient has this far point, how would you test this? Just give the patient a Jaeger's card. Okay, provided na ang pasyente kayang basahin ang J3, focus on one word on that paragraph, and then simply ask the patient to move it. Okay, yung i-move niya yan hanggang sa lumabo. Okay, that would be the point where you will be computing for the refractive error present. Na kapag ang case lamang ay myopia, ha, hindi hyperopia. Okay? So, that would be employing or i-apply ninyo yung D equals to 1 over F na formula. Okay? So, naintindihan ito? Naintindihan? O, bakit naging 2 diopters? Edi 100 centimeters divided by 50. Kasi ang given ay centimeters. So that's 100 divided by yung kung saang distansya ni-report na pasyente na lumabo yung target. Okay, so that will be the equivalent myopia correction. Pero estimation lang po, ha? Estimation lang. Okay? Now, I also have shown you this na ito po yung expected na hyperopia ng bata kapag siya ay ipinanganak up to the age of 6. So please, not naman memorize, but you have to be aware that, you know, when a child is born, okay, in infancy, all children are supposed to be hyperopic. Meron lang mangilan-ngilan na pag pinanganak, sila po ay myopic. Ito po yung mga premature babies. Okay, na kung saan they are born with a very steep cornea and they have a halos circular na crystalline lens. Kaya yung dioptric power ng mata nila ay malakas, or yung dioptric power ng mata ay higit pa sa length ng mata. So ibig sabihin, if you were born prematurely, you will be born with a very stiff cornea and a spherical crystalline lens. So given those, talagang magkakaroon ka ng myopic condition. But of course, the child will not remain myopic there is a possibility that the child will be myopic as he is growing. Okay? Pero yung myopia na meron siya in infancy, unti-unti yun mababawas dahil continuous ang development ng mata. So yung pinanganak siya na steep cornea, kapag siya ay nag-grow, posible na yung steep na cornea pwedeng mag-lessen in curvature at yung kanyang spherical na crystalline lens, magiging biconvex ang structure. So yung myopia kung meron man, hindi na ganun kataas. Naintindihan? Naintindihan? Okay? Now, we discussed a little bit of cyclorefraction. Okay?
Recording in progress.
Oh, bakit naka-record?
Wait lang po, Dok. May napindot po yata.
Recording stopped.
Okay. So, before we proceed to subjective refraction, let me just discuss a little bit of cycloplegic refraction. So, kanino or sino yung mga dapat na sinacyclo? Indications to perform cyclorefraction. Sino-sino ang mga to? Ang sabi, non-responsive or non-communicative patients. Bakit kaya? Bakit kaya? Pag sinabing non-responsive or non-communicative patients. Anong ibig tukuyin nito?
Yung mga ano po, Doc, yung hindi po nare-response na yung hindi po nila masabi if okay po yung nakikita nila or if yun po, Doc, yung hindi po nila masabi kung ano po yung nakikita nila ng maayos or yung mga mute patients po, Doc.
Ito yung mga pasyente na hindi mo nakukuhanan ng matinong sagot or di kaya hindi sila nagsasalita. Kaya nga non-communicative. Okay? So wala kang response na nakukuha sa kanila. Now, bakit cyclorefraction? Especially in children. Di ba kung napapansin ninyo, may mga bata na kapag dinala sa clinic, yung mga mahihiyain, ayaw nila na nagsasalita. Di ba? Di ba hindi sila talkative? Kasi meron sila yung tinatawag na white coat syndrome na kapag nakaharap sa isang tao na nakaputi, aakalain nilang, syempre alam nilang doktor, yung i-injectionan sila. Okay? So, pag ganun, halimbawa, bata ang pasyente, hindi naman po pwedeng magre-rely ka lamang sa objective results mo. Anong ibig sabihin ng objective? Nag-reti ka, nag-autoref ka, okay? Paano kung yung lumabas na resulta, the results of your reti and the results of your autoref, you are getting a hyperopic correction which is significant in amount. Or di kaya, it is not naman na unusual for a child to have myopia because it is common nowadays. But the myopia has to be ruled out as a true myopia because some children, okay, they tend to have latent hyperopia. Yung hyperopia na kinukubli or tinatago or in-overcome ng accommodation na lumalabas, nagiging myopic sila sa resulta ng retinoscopy, sa resulta ng autoref. So these are children that, has to be subjected to cyclorefraction. Naiintindihan ba ang ibig kong sabihin? Now, when objective and subjective data do not correlate, okay? So, pinest mo, nag-examine ka ng pasyente. Bakit yung VA ko hindi nagko-correlate sa results ng refraction, sa objective refraction, hindi rin nagko-correlate yung objective refraction ko sa results ng autoref. Okay? So somewhere along my testing, okay, there is a thing that is not correct. There is a thing that I may have missed on. Okay? So para masigurado ko kailangan kong mag-subjective refraction, mag-cyclorefraction. Okay? So, ito yung mga syndrome of findings. Ito yung mga symptoms. Okay? Ito yung mga indications na kung saan you will be doing cyclorefraction. Indications of high hyperopia. Why do you think it is mandatory to do cyclorefraction in cases of high hyperopia, especially in children? Kasi di ba, balikan natin ito. Ito yung magiging guide natin. Okay? Kung kailangan bang mag-subjective refraction or hindi. Mag-cyclorefraction o hindi. So, if unusual na merong amount of hyperopia yung bata, halimbawa, sabihin natin, at age 4, meron siyang 4 diopters of hyperopia, lumalabas sa reti, lumalabas sa otoref. Okay? Alam natin, at age 4, somewhere along plus 0.50 lang siya meron. Pero bakit meron siyang significant amount of hyperopia present? Then, you would have to perform cyclorefraction. Baka yung plus 4 na meron siya is not just plus 4, it's more than that. Kasi sabi ko nga, di ba, ang mga bata malakas ang accommodative ability. Baka mamaya to compensate for the total amount of hyperopia meron siya, okay? Yung iba lang ang kaya niyang itago, yung iba lumalabas sa refraction. Okay? Large esophoria or esotropia. Ito, pinag-uusapan natin dito ha, yung mga esophoria at esotropia sa mga bata. Okay? Why do you think you would think of doing cyclorefraction when you see a significant amount of esophoria or an esotropia case in children? Bakit? Bakit kaya? Bakit kaya? Anyone? Nandyan ba kayo? Mag-participate naman kayo para alam kung nandyan kayo. Yung iba alam kung nandyan kasi bukas yung camera. E paano naman yung iba na wala, hindi nakabukas yung camera? Okay? O, alam nyo, medyo nakakainis yung mga ganong mga hindi nagbubukas ng camera. Kasi bakit? Parang yung ginagawang radyo, yung nagsasalita. Di ba sa radyo ganon, hindi nakikita nung nagsasalita, yung may programa, hindi nakikita yung kanyang audience, di ba? So, parang ganun. So, total, huding araw naman na ng review natin ito. O, pagbigyan nyo na ako, mag-participate naman kayo. Okay? So, why is it necessary to have, to perform cyclorefraction in children, especially when they have large amount of esophoria or esotropia? Bakit?
No, this is, related po ba siya sa accommodative esotropia? Or
Oo, oo. Tignan muna kasi natin kung ano ang refraction ng bata. Okay? Kasi kung meron siyang uncorrected na hyperopia, sabihin na natin significant ang amount of hyperopia present. Isipin ninyo, ang hyperops, kung uncorrected yan, nag-a-accommodate yan sa malayo. Tama? Yung amount of accommodation na ginagawa sa malapit, mas mataas kumpara sa accommodation na ginagawa sa malayo. Children, okay, they love to draw, they like to play on gadgets. So increase yung kanilang time spent on doing near tasks. Okay? So kung ang demand sa accommodation ay mataas sa malapit kesa sa malayo, dagdagan mo pa na gumagawa yung bata or mahilig siyang tumingin sa malapit, naglalaro ng cellphone sa malapit, nagdo-drawing sa malapit, okay? dagdagan mo pa yung the fact na meron siyang uncorrected hyperopia. So, anong nangyayari? Anong nangyayari kapag ganito? Anong nangyayari kapag ganito? Yung the mere fact na nag-accommodate siya sa malapit, nati-trigger yung accommodative convergence niya. Remember, we have studied about accommodative convergence. Okay? So pag nag-trigger yung kanyang accommodative convergence, anong mangyayari? Lalong papasok yung dalawang mata niya to the point na yung isa, okay? Yung isa pasok na it would appear na yung kanyang mata ay kapag tumingin na sa ngayon sa malayo, yung isa nakapasok, yung isa normal ang line of sight. Okay? That is because of uncorrected hyperopia. It is accommodative in origin. Okay? The eyes are converging at near, so much so that one eye tends to remain in while the other is straight. So that's accommodative esotropia. The only way to correct this is to correct the uncorrected hyperopia. Okay, so accommodative esotropia or refractive esotropia, they are accommodative in origin, meaning to say you have an uncorrected hyperopia that has to be addressed so that the esotropia now will be addressed as well. Okay, now small pupils for age. Small pupils for age. Ano ang indication ng small pupils, ng constricted pupils? Active ang accommodation. Okay? Baka mamaya may ciliary spasm yan. Tama? Yung time spent at near. Okay? Kapag lagi kang nakatingin sa malapit, it could what? Stress out your ciliary muscles. So, lagi yang naka-flex ngayon. Pag laging naka-flex ang ciliary muscles, hindi yan nagre-relax kapag kahit na ikaw ay tumingin sa malayo. So, anong lumalabas niyan? Nag-accommodate ka kahit sa malayo. O, ano ang influence niyan sa pupils mo? Siyempre, constriction. Okay? So, baka kaya may small pupils kasi active lagi ang accommodation. So to relax that, you have to do cyclorefraction. Now, low amplitude of accommodation for age. So, bakit ba nagkakaroon ng low amplitude or accommodative insufficiency? Dahil gamit na gamit ang accommodation dahil kailangan i-address yung uncorrected hyperopia. So, paano mo gagawin yon? Pwede i-relax mo yung patient's accommodation para lumabas yung true amount of hyperopia present. So, dapat i-cyclorefraction din yon. Fluctuations of accommodation, nangyayari din ito. Because of what? Bakit may fluctuation of accommodation? Minsan normal, okay? But when you now do a lot of near work, bumibigay minsan yung iyong accommodative ability. Lalo na kung if you spend so much time the whole day looking at near. Okay? So, minsan hindi nagiging stable ang accommodative ability natin dahil ito ay gamit na gamit madalas. Naintindihan? Okay? So, those are the indications for cyclorefraction. Okay? Bakit pa nagkakaroon ng fluctuation of accommodation? Because, the ciliary muscles could be spasmodic. Nagkakaspasm of the ciliary muscles. Okay? Next, ano yung mga pwede nating gamitin during cyclorefraction? One is yung cyclopentolate. Okay? So, cyclogel po ito. Ngayon, ano yung effect ng cyclogel or cyclopentolate cyclopentolate is the generic name. Okay, what is this drug all about, or what is this drug all about? It is very, kumbaga, hindi naman sing effect ng atropine ang cyclopentolate, pero potent ito. So ito yung ideal na ginagamit ng mga optometrists, okay, during cyclorefraction. Yung cyclogel or cyclopentolate ay iba-iba ang concentrations niya. So yung ginagamit natin ay 1% lamang. Dahil nga very potent siya, okay, ang administration nito ay usually, okay, 1 drop or 2 drops kung hindi pa sobrang dilated ang pupils. Okay? So ang administration would be 1 drop ng 1% and then you wait for 5 minutes. Kung sa 1 drop pa lamang ay dilated na ang pupils, okay? Pwede na hindi mo na sesegundahan ng pangalawa pa. Pero usually yan ha, it would take 2 drops to achieve the full cycloplegia effect. Okay? So meaning to say, after 1 drop, you wait for 5 minutes, and then para sure you do another drop. Okay? And that is what, and what you do is, you wait for a certain period, and then you check the pupils of the child or the patient. Now, kailan mo malalaman kung pwede ka nang mag-refract? Kuha ka ng pen light, ilawan mo yung mata ng pasyente. Kapag hindi na siya reactive sa ilaw, ibig sabihin, good to do refraction already. Okay? So yan yung cyclopentolate. Kaya lang, hindi nyo nga ito ginagamit sa clinic dahil ang epekto nito, umaabot to ng 24 hours. Okay? Matagal. So halimbawa, yung pasyente ninyo, estudyante, pinasyente nyo ng hapon, edi hindi ito makakapasok kinabukasan dahil dilated ang pupils. Diba? Kung 24 hours ang effect, hindi siya po pwedeng pumasok dahil meron siyang complaints ng blurring of vision at near kasi nakadilate ang pupils. Meron siyang silaw kasi nakadilate ang pupils. Diba? So, ang ginagamit usually sa clinic ay yung tropicamide or yung Midrayacil. Okay? So, etong, anong tawag dito? Etong tropicamide ninyo, naalala niyo ba kung anong kulay ng cap? Red ba? Ha? Red ba
Yes
siya?
po, Doc Red.
Okay. So, teka lang ha, meron ng nag-message. Wait lang. Okay. So, tropicamide is a short-acting lang ito. Hindi to pang 24 hours ang effect. Okay? So, ito ay ang pangunahing action niya would be just to dilate the pupils. Okay? Because if suspending the action of your ciliary muscles ang pag-uusapan, ang tropicamide ay weak cycloplegia. Okay? Meron siyang konting effect para hindi fully magre-respond ang ciliary muscles. Meron siyang effect konti lang, pero ang direct effect niya would be sa dilatation of the pupils. Okay? So, hindi siya ganon katagal ang effect. Usually, nag-wear off to pagkatapos siguro mo pinasok mo ang patient ng alauna. Okay? So, nagtatak kayo. Hindi siya actually na matagal ang effect. Usually yan, mga 4 hours na dyan, pwede na eh. Na bumabalik na sa dati yung normal size ng pupils. Okay? So, unlike yung cyclopentolate, matagal siya. Kaya, di ba, pag hindi mo gustong gumamit ng tropicamide sa pasyente mo at gusto mong mag-cyclopentolate, siguraduhin mo lang na kapag ang pasyente mo ay pupunta sa'yo at isa-cyclo mo using cyclopentolate, dapat may kasama yan pa uwi. Okay? Kasi hindi nga yan nakakapitan ng maayos dahil yan ay dilated ang pupils. Okay? Lalo na yung mga bata, dapat may kasama. Talaga namang may kasama ang mga bata kapag pumunta sa clinic for eye exam. Okay. Now, ano ang mode of yung pagpatak ng tropicamide? Yung ginagamit natin ay 1%. Okay? So, ito ay minsan 3 beses mo pinapatak. Minsan na umaabot ng pang-4. So, first is you do 1 drop, wait for 5 minutes. Okay, after 5 minutes, you do another one. Wait for another 5 minutes, you do another patak. 3 patak usually yan. Pero kung halimbawa, sabi ko nga, how would you know if refraction is already okay to do? Kumuha ka ng pen light, tignan mo kung nagre-react pa yung pupils sa ilaw. Kung hindi na pwede. Usually, yung iba kapag meron pa rin, it's either papatakan tapos mag-aantay or di kaya sa pangatlong patak, mas matagal yung pag-aantay. Ang problema nga lang, sa tagal ng pag-aantay mo, baka mamaya mag-wear off na yung effect ng tropicamide. So yung iba ang ginagawa, pinapatakan pa nila ng pang-4 na beses. Okay? Naintindihan? Now, when your patient is okay for refraction, hindi mo dapat na pinapatagal yung pagre-refract. Okay? Lalo na sa tropicamide. Kasi bakit? Sabi ko nga, hindi long-lasting ang effect nito. Baka sa tagal ng pagre-refract mo, nag-wear off na yung eye drops mo. Okay? Not to say na hindi ka dapat gumamit ng tropicamide, pero kasi ito yung ginagamit talaga sa clinic, di ba? Okay? Yung mga gumagamit ng cyclopentolate, sila yung mga nasa eye centers. Okay? Kasi syempre drug of choice yun eh. Yung drug of choice yun. Yan yung pinaka-ideal for cyclorefraction in children. So, yun ang dalawang mga drops na ginagamit natin for cyclorefraction. Lahat naman kayo nakapag-cyclo, di ba? Using tropicamide. Tama? Okay. So, iba-iba lang po ang brands niyan, pero ang generic name ay tropicamide and cyclopentolate. Okay? Now, when you are going to prescribe the cyclorefraction prescription, you have to be guided by this. Okay? First is you have to know the patient's phoria and symptoms. Now, when you say phoria, it has to be the habitual phoria and the induced phoria. Okay, both at far and near. Now, you also have to, and by the way, when you do this is pre-cyclo. Bago ka pa mag-cyclo. Naintindihan? Dapat may baseline findings ka. Now, you also have to take note of yung reserves niya. Kasi, di ba, kailangan malaman mo kung meron large amount of phoria present yung pasyente. Dapat, di ba, alam ko kung ito ay compensated or decompensated because otherwise, magkakaroon ka ng modification dun sa prescription mo. Di ba ganon ang ginagawa ninyo? Okay? So you should be guided by this. You should have a baseline findings first before you do cyclorefraction. Nang sa ganon, pwede mong i-correlate yung lalabas sa cyclorefraction mo at yung mga results bago ka nag-cyclorefraction. Okay? Now, alam natin na kapag ang correction ay plus, ideally, kapag plus ang correction, mas magandang combination ang isophoria. Tama? Plus and iso, they are a good combination. Okay? That is why it says here, when you have a plus correction and the deviation is iso, it helps out, okay? Decrease the amount of iso present. But what about if the deviation present is exo and the correction is plus? It can what? Increase the amount of exophoria present. That is why kailangan mong malaman kung yan ang magiging effect, kailangan mong malaman yung mga fusional reserves kung yan ay compensated or decompensated. Naintindihan? Now, if the correction is a minus, alam natin minus and iso is not a good combination. Minus and exo is magandang combination yan. Kasi ina-aggravate ng minus correction ang iso. Pinapataas niya lalo. Okay? Ngayon, yung exo at minus ang correction, pinapababa niya yan. Bakit importante yung fusional reserve? Paano kung ang correction mo ay minus, ang deviation mo ay iso? Ibibigay mo ba yung correction? O, di balikan mo ito. Is it possible to give my patient the minus correction despite having an iso deviation? Take a look at your fusional reserve. If it is compensated, then pwede mong ibigay. Pero pag decompensated, pwede kang mag-modify ng correction or di kaya kung iso ang finding mo at minus si pasyente. Pwede mong sabihin na, baka po pwede na lagyan natin ng plus correction kapag ikaw ay nakatingin sa malapit. So ito yung ideally na nagpe-prescribe ka ng PAL kahit ang pasyente mo ay bata pa. Okay? Not to aggravate or exaggerate the isophoria at near. Or di kaya, kung ang pasyente mo walang problema sa near, malinaw siya sa malapit, di po pwede mo sabihin sa pasyente, tanggalin na lang yung salamin mo kapag tumingin ka sa near, sa ganon, hindi maa-aggravate ang iso. So, magkakaroon ka ng modification. You will have to come up with a plan that is suitable to the patient. Okay? Naintindihan? Now, so ito lang po yung the short of it. Okay? So if you have a hyperopic patient, exo ang deviation niya, anong ibibigay mo? Minimum plus, tolerable to bring phoria within acceptable range. Okay? Bumaba slightly. Ano yung acceptable range natin? Meron ba tayong acceptable range sa pagdating sa exo at near? Or exo at far? Actually, meron tayong amount na ina-expect nating normal, di ba? One half exo sa distance, 6 exo sa near. Pero kapag isophoria, bakit hindi ina-expect ang isophoria sa near? Bakit exo? Bakit exo? Bakit hindi iso?
Parang EXO po, Doc, ano siya, buffer. Kasi pag ISO sobrang, pag EXO, parang it serves as a slight buffer para hindi masyadong mag-converge yung mata.
Okay.
At,
So, oo. Kaya exophoria ang condition natin. Exophoria naman not to the extent na, it will now deviate lines of sight. Parang buffer lang siya na hindi dapat iso din kasi baka pumasok naman yung mata natin. Okay? So parang nandun siya sa border lamang na ito dapat. Kung meron mang FORIA present tayo, it's the exo type, not the iso type. Okay? Now, if the correction is myopia, okay, sabi ko nga kanina, kung myopia yan, ideally, dapat ang kanyang FORIA present would be dapat exo. Okay? Kasi kung myope ang pasyente, ang condition ay exo, good combination yan. Kapag yan ay myope, tapos iso ang deviation, baka lalo lang ma-aggravate o ma-exaggerate ang iso deviation. Okay? Kaya hindi siya magandang combination. But then again, hindi ko sinasabi na kapag plus pala ang correction at exophoria may exophoria deviation ang pasyente, hindi ko na lang ibibigay ang correction. Kaya nga nandyan ang fusional reserves ninyo. Kasi yung fusional reserves ninyo will tell you if you can give the correction or not. Okay? If you cannot give the correction because it can aggravate or it can exaggerate the deviation present, then you modify the correction or di kaya gagawa ka ng ibang paraan. Okay, probably kung convex ay kung concave and iso yan, probably pwede kang mag-suggest na progressive additional lenses yung pasyente mo, nang sa ganon, hindi ma-aggravate yung kanyang isophoria smear. Naiintindihan ba yung sinasabi ko? Ha? Okay. So, yan yung mga inyong dapat na pakatandaan. Okay? Ano ba yung susunod ko? Okay, hindi na yan. Meron bang tanong? Wala. Okay, wait lang. So now we go to subjective refraction. So pang ano lang yon, pang intro lang yung kanina. Okay. I'm not sure if parehas ba tayo ng steps in doing subjective refraction because we have how many ba? Parang 8 steps in doing subjective refraction. Okay? So, magpa-fogging tayo, mag-unfogging. Tapos kung 20/20 yung pasyente, we proceed to duochrome. Kapag hindi nag-20/20 yung pasyente, mag-determine tayo ng cylinder component. Okay? So, cylinder axis muna, bago cylinder amount. And then we go to finalizing, cylinder axis, cylinder amount. And then we go to duochrome, and then finally we do balancing. So, hindi ko alam kung ganon yung subjective procedure ng LNU. Paano nyo magginagawa ang subjective refraction? Parehas ba tayo? Parehas ba tayo? Mag-fog, unfog, determination of cylinder axis and amount, finalizing cylinder axis and amount, duochrome, tapos balancing. Parehas ba?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay. So, we now go to subjective refraction. Okay. So the first procedure would be to do fogging technique. Okay. Now, when you fog, kasi ganito dapat kapag kayo magsa-subjective refraction, it has to be that the patient's accommodation is relaxed. Not accommodating ang pasyente at distance. Okay? So it should be kept relaxed at all times. Now, if you want to make sure that the accommodation is relaxed, one way of relaxing patient's accommodation na hindi ka gagamit ng mga drops is what we call the fogging technique. So in fogging technique, we normally use plus lenses, okay? Plus lenses to relax the patient's accommodation. And what do you do about this plus later on? You are going to remove this, okay, na gradually. Now, fogging is a non-cycloplegic technique to relax accommodation because we don't use drops. We instead use lenses to relax the patient's accommodation. Kaya siya ay non-cycloplegic. So this is a dry type of doing cycloplegic refraction because it does not involve the use of drops. Now, when you do fogging, regardless of whether your patient is a myope or a hyperope, we use plus lenses and we make sure that we bring the focus in front of the retina. Okay? So by doing so, we are rendering our patient artificially myopic. So plus lenses would what? Converge rays of light. The more you increase this, the more it moves away from the retina. Where? In front of the retina. Now, if the patient is now completely cyclopleged or not cycloplegic, pinarelax mo na yung accommodation niya. Okay? Pwede mo na ngayon umpisahan yung pagbabawas nung kung ano yung inintroduce mo na plus lenses. Okay? And by the way, importante na when the focus is in front of the retina now, kahit pa yung pasyente mo ay mag-a-accommodate. Kasi syempre pag wala na sa retina, yung nakikita niya na ay masyado ng malabo. Diba meron tayong reflex accommodation, in responsive vision, we accommodate. But it will end up lang na when the patient accommodates, the focus will even move farther away from the retina. So useless na yan. So alam mo na kapag meron ka ng sapat na plus lenses sa mata, hindi na yan mag-a-accommodate. Dahil pag nag-accommodate lang, lalo lang mapupunta sa harapan ng mata yung focus, lalo lang lalabo yung kanyang makikita. So yan yung aim mo. During fogging technique, you are relaxing the patient's accommodation, okay, and make the patient artificially myope in the process. Okay, nasusundan. Now, there are ways to do fogging. There are 3 ways to do fogging. Yung usual na ginagawa natin would be to increase the amount of plus lenses in quarter diopter steps. So you begin by increasing the amount of plus lenses in quarter diopter steps. Pag in quarter diopter steps, benching ko ng benching ko hanggang sa hindi na mabasa ng pasyente yung biggest letter. Diba? Kasi ang fogging, ang aim mo is to blur out the biggest letter by adding plus lenses. So, paano mo i-blur out ang biggest letter? One is to increase the amount of plus lenses in quarter diopter steps. Okay? So, yan po yung unang way of fogging. Yung pangalawa is you put now the gross retinoscopic finding. Saan ko kukunin yung gross retinoscopic finding? Di ba sa proseso ng eye exam, mauuna ang retinoscopy? Tama? So meron ka ng gross retinoscopic finding. And by the way, kapag kayo pinag-perform ng subjective refraction, para sa akin lang ha, hindi ko gagawin yung number 1, hindi ko rin gagawin yung number 2, ay number 3. Ang gagawin ko yung number 2. Bakit? Sa gross retinoscopic finding, alam mo na meron kang working distance na nakalagay. Tama? Nandyan na yung working distance equivalent mo na plus 2. So anong gagawin mo? Eh di ang gagawin mo, re-reduce mo na lang hanggang sa ma-achieve niya yung kanyang best line. Kung meron man yan cylinder component, as you are decreasing the amount of of plus lens in front of the patient's eye, unti-unting mag-clear yan. Kung meron kang astigmatic correction, nandun na yan. O, paano mo i-check yung astigmatic correction mo? Eh di mag-Jackson cross cylinder ka, ganun kabilis mag-refract. Okay? Yun ay kung tama ang iyong reti. Naintindihan? Kung kumpiyansa ka na tama ang reti mo, gagawin mo yung number 2 para mag-refract. Yan yung pinakamabilis na paraan ng pagre-refract. Okay? Now, number 3 would be, if you want to skip the process of adding plus lenses in quarter diopter steps until such that the biggest letter becomes blurry, you want to skip that process, you put in the sudden fog amounting to plus 2. Okay? Para ikaw ay hindi na magtatagal kapag ikaw ay nagpa-fog. Maglalagay ka ng sudden fog na plus 2. Naintindihan? Naintindihan? Okay? Next would be yung, oh, by the way, ang pag-fog ay dahan-dahan kang nag-i-increase ng plus. Tama? Yung iyong VA muna ang ating titignan ha. VA muna. Halimbawa, you have a VA of 2070. 2070. Okay? Now, kung halimbawa, ang gagawin mo ay yung first procedure or first, ano ba tawag dito? Ano ba ang way? O 3 ways to fog kasi yan. Okay? So, kung gusto mong gawin yung unang way to fog, magdadagdag ka, mag-increase ka ng plus lens, ano ang endpoint criterion mo dyan? Hanggang sa yung biggest letter maging blurry. Kung 2070 ang VA mo, it would take you a little plus to blur out the biggest letter. Tama? Konti na lamang yan kasi ano na bang susunod na linya? Yung preceding line mo, 2100 tapos 2200. So, konti lamang na plus lens ang kailangan mo to blur out the biggest letter. Now, kapag halimbawa, yan ay kung subnormal yung VA ng pasyente mo. Halimbawa, yung pasyente mo ay ulitin ko, pag 2070, substandard yon. Paano kung ang VA ng pasyente mo ay subnormal? Meaning to say, the patient, okay, sa pagkakaupo niya, hindi niya mabasa yung biggest letter. Is there a need to fog the patient? Eh kasi nga naman, di ba, during fogging, ano ba ang aim mo? Anong endpoint sa fogging? To blur out the biggest letter. Eh ito, ang VA ay subnormal. Hindi na mabasa yung biggest letter. So ang tanong, is there a need to fog the patient? Is there a need to fog the patient still if the VA is subnormal? Anyone? Is there a need to fog the patient if the VA is subnormal?
No na po, Doc.
Okay. Pwede ang sagot ay no. Pwede rin yes. Bakit? Eh, paano kung ang pasyente mo ay isang hyperope? Diba? Isang hyperope. O, anong mangyayari kung hyperopic yung pasyente mo? Uy, natatandaan nyo ba? Yung pag-refract? Kung ang VA ng pasyente nyo ay subnormal, hindi mabasa yung biggest letter, hindi ka na ba magpa-fog? Eh, paano kung hyperope ang pasyente? Eh, ang susunod mong gagawin, mag-i-introduce ka na ng minus kung hindi ka na magpa-fog pala. O, edi hindi mo makuha yung subjective result niya. Diba? Not unless your patient has an uncorrected myopia. Edi swerte mo. Hindi ka na nag-fog, nag-introduce ka na ng minus. Edi mag-i-improve ang VA nun. Eh, paano pag ang pasyente mo ay hyperope? Diba? So kapag subnormal ang VA ng pasyente, hindi tayo magko-conclude na ay hindi na ako magfa-fog kasi blurry na yung biggest letter ko. Biggest letter niya, hindi yan yung endpoint ng fogging eh. 'Di ba? So para makasigurado ka na ang pasyente mo ay hyperope or myope, you get a +1 on the trial case, or kung ang pasyente mo ay nasa phoropter head, iset mo sa +1 yan. If VA slightly improves with the addition of +1, your patient is a hyperope. Then there is a need to fog. Okay? Do you understand? But if the patient reports, mas lumabo yung nakikita, o di alam mo na ang pasyente mo either myope or astigmatic yan. Okay? So itatry mo muna ilagay ang +1 para i-determine mo kung ang pasyente mo ay magre-respond doon sa lenteng in-introduce mo or lalong lumabo yung kanyang vision. Kasi kapag nag-improve yan slightly, ibig sabihin kailangan mong mag-fog. Naintindihan? Naintindihan? Now, if the patient's correction is known, okay, if your patient is a hyperopic or has hyperopic condition, you don't need to start from +0.25, +50. What you can do is you determine the correction and then you start from there to blur out the biggest letter, okay? If your patient has a substandard VA, then you must do either this or this one, 1 or 3, kapag substandard ang kanyang VA. But if your patient, okay, has abnormal VA and your patient has a habitual correction and this correction is a minus correction, then you know you don't have to fog because kapag hindi niya suot yung salamin, nasaan ang focus niya? In front of the retina. So anong gagawin mo? Mag-i-introduce ka na ngayon ng minus lens. Naintindihan? Naintindihan? Uy, kayo ba ay nandyan pa?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, nasusundan. Now next. Just in case, okay, just in case you do not know this or you forgot this, when we are changing lenses, especially when we're using the trial frame or the trial case, kailangan po natin i-observe yung ruling na to. Okay? Kapag nasa plus tayo, papunta tayo sa plus, ang siste ay dapat, kunyari, nag-start ka sa +25, okay, i-increase mo sa +50, you put first the new lens before you remove the previous. Okay, that's how it is. Again, if you have to increase the lens and it's a plus lens, okay, you have the previous lens, you are now putting a new lens. It should be that you put in first the new lens before you remove the previous. Nang hindi mabibigla yung accommodation niya. Ngayon, sa minus naman. Pag minus naman ang iyong ini-introduce, okay, you have the previous minus lens, you have the new one here. You have to remove muna the previous before you introduce the new one. Okay? That's the rules or the rule in changing lenses. Okay? Nang sa ganon, hindi na bibigla yung accommodation ng inyong pasyente, lalo na kung minus ang inyong nilalagay na lens. Okay? Naintindihan? Now, when you now have your fogging lens, it is now time to unfog. Okay? When unfogging, you do it gradually. When I say gradual, you have to do it either in quarter diopter steps or pwedeng in half a diopter. When I say half a diopter, pwedeng by 50 ang inyong pagbaba hanggang sa ma-achieve nyo yung line ng pasyente. So, ano ang endpoint criterion during unfogging? It should be that if it is going to be a plus correction, it would have to be the strongest plus. And if it's a minus, it has to be the weakest minus available. Okay? For best line or for best sphere correction. Naintindihan? Diba napakasimple naman yan? More plus, strong plus, or pag gumaganyan ako, meron din lumalabas na ganyan doon sa litrato ko. Yan. Okay? So, we have between plus na correction, ang ating pipiliin ay yung greatest plus. Kung minus naman ang ating spherical correction, it should be na dapat yan ay weakest minus or yung pinaka least minus na correction. Now, yung best line, as you are unfogging, ang kinukuha mo kasi dyan, yung kung ano yung smallest line na kayang basahin ng pasyente as you are unfogging. Kasi dinidetermine mo yung best line niya for best VA. If your best line is 20/20 during unfogging, kapag ang best line mo ay 20/20, ulitin ko ha, walang missed calls yan, 20/20 talaga. Sphere lang ang kanyang spherical ametropia. Sphere lang, spherical na nga. Kung spherical ametropia lang meron ang pasyente, ano ang susunod? Magduduchrome ka. Okay? Kasi para ma-check mo kung correct yung sphere mo. Pero, merong mga pasyente na habang ikaw ay nag-a-unfog, hindi na-achieve ang 20/20 na best line. So, pag ganito, ang pipiliin nyo pong susunod na procedure ay i-determine kung meron bang astigmatic error yung pasyente. So, presence of astigmatism. Okay? So, halimbawa, nag-unfog ka, nag-20/20 yung pasyente. Okay? 20/20 na walang shadow ha. Kasi merong mga pasyente na nag-20/20 pero parang nagdodoble. Yun pala may shadowing. Mag-check kayo for astigmatism pag ganon. Okay? Ngayon, kung halimbawa, perfect, nabasa ang 20/20. So, anong susunod? Duchrome. So, kapag kayo ay nag-duchrome, you are actually finalizing now the sphere power. Okay? So, duchrome goes by different names. You have bichrome or you call it the red-green test. Now, it says here, this red and green test works on the principle that the wavelengths of red and green light are focused slightly different by the eye. Red being closer to the retina with short sight and green focused closer to the retina in long sight. Anong ibig sabihin? Sa chromatic aberration, okay, dun sa wavelengths of light, okay, pag pumasok yan sa loob ng mata, kung emmetrope ang mata ng pasyente, yung kulay yellow sa color spectrum is the one that lands exactly on the retina of an emmetropic eye. Naintindihan? Kapag emmetrope ang kondisyon ng mata, yung wavelength ng different colors natin, yung yellow eye is found to be exactly on the retina. Kaya ginagamit ang red and green kulay doon sa duchrome kasi it has been found out na yung red tsaka yung green ay yung mga kulay na equidistant from yellow. Okay? Naintindihan? Naintindihan. Kung emmetropic ay yan. Pero kung ang mata ng pasyente ay myopic eye, which color would be closest to a myopic eye? Ang kulay red. Kaya nga dito red being closer to the retina with the short eye. Ibig sabihin ng short, hindi pala short eye, short sight. Pag short sight, ibig sabihin myop ang mata. Green is found to be closer to an eye where the eggshell length is short. Okay? Kaya nga, green that is which is found to be closest to the retina in a long-sighted eye. Diba? Long sight, hyperope, short eye. Short sight, ibig sabihin, myope, long eye. So, kapag ganyan ang eggshell length ng pasyente, okay, mahaba, red ang mas malapit sa myopic eye. Kapag ang mata ay short, ang kulay green ay siyang malapit sa hyperopic eye. Pero kapag ang mata ay emmetropic, walang ametropia present, the color that is closest or that is found to be exactly on the retina is the yellow color. Kaya ginagamit sa duochrome ang red and green because it has been found that yung red and green are the colors that are equidistant from the retina. Okay? Naintindihan? Oh, kasi baka mamaya ipa-explain sa inyo, bakit red or green ang ginagamit sa duochrome? O yan yung explanation dyan. Okay? So, yan po yung another explanation as to why the yellow color is the one that should be on the retina. Kasi yan yung dapat na, during refraction, yan yung dapat na ilagay natin. Yung yellow dapat tatapat sa retina. Okay? So, yun. Naintindihan?
Doc,
Yes.
paano po kapag si patient is colorblind?
Walang problema kung si patient ay colorblind. Dahil ang ginagawa naman sa duochrome ay hindi naman yung pagka-red ng red, pagka-green ng green, pagka-dark ng letters sa dalawang backgrounds. Kaya kahit siya ay may color problem, magagawa mo pa rin yung duochrome. Naiintindihan ako? Dahil sa duochrome, ang tinitignan natin how dark the letters are on these two backgrounds, right?
Yes, Doc.
Pagka-dark ng letters, not yung how red is red or how green is green. Okay? Kaya walang problema yon.
Okay.
Naintindihan?
Bali, wala po siyang effect.
Walang effect.
Okay po, thank you, Doc.
Okay? So meron pang tanong? Okay, so how does this work? How does this duochrome testing work? Nung last akong nag-review, meron kasi silang tinatanong sa akin na, kailangan ba maglagay ng +50 kapag nagdo-duochrome? Yun din ang itatanong ko sa inyo. Kasi meron daw sila sa exposure nila sa kanilang sites na hindi gumagamit or hindi nilalagyan ng +50. How true is this? Have you experienced this during your practice outside of CEU during your internship days? Wala naman.
Yes po, Doc. Yung site ko
Meron?
lang lalagay ng +50.
Hindi nilalagyan ng +50?
Hindi po.
Bakit daw?
Ay, sa ano po kasi yun, Doc, kasi sa amin. So,
Naman ko, nagbanggit ka pa.
Ay,
Huwag
sorry,
kang
sorry.
magbanggit. Huwag kang magbanggit. Pwede mo sabihin na meron, pero huwag kang magbanggit. Ay. Okay. Ganito ha. Sa procedure natin, and it is in books, okay? Ang pagduduochrome ay kailangan mong maglagay ng +50. Okay? Para saan yung +50? Lagi nating pinoprotektahan yung mata from accommodation. Yan yung laging role ng 50 na yan kahit kapag kayo ay nagdidetermine ng astigmatism na may proper fog. Ang role ng +50 na yan is to make sure that patient's accommodation is not in play, okay, during the testing. And during duochrome testing, hindi ba ito when you are checking for the sphere power, this is done monocularly, right? Mono yan, okay? So, ang proseso ay, if you have your VT number 7, on top of your VT number 7, okay, you put a plus 0.50, and by doing so, you are actually pulling red closer to the retina so that when you ask the patient, okay, by pulling it closer to the retina, that is slightly what? Relaxing the patient's accommodation. So you just have to make sure na with the spherical correction in place, okay, you will be moving that a little bit in front of the retina. And by doing so, you are actually pulling red closer to the retina so that when you ask your patient and you knowing what the answer will be, if you're gonna ask the patient, are the circles, it could be kasi circles, it could be letters, right? Ang puti ng mukha mo, Jeddy. Anong meron?
Hindi ko po alam daw.
Ang puti ng mukha mo. Okay. So going back. When you put plus 0.50, nasusundan ba ako? Makinig ha. Oo, sasabihin, alam ko na yan. Yan na naman tayo sa alam ko na yan. Tapos pag nandun na mismo sa examination, wala na, limot na. Okay, so halimbawa you have a -1 correction, patient's VA is 20/20. Okay? Stop share ko muna. Oh. Oh. So, nag-unfog ka. So, yung pinaka-least minus na nakuha mo for best VA is -1. Okay? So, 20/20. So, ina-assume mo, yan ay exactly on the retina. So, i-check ko ngayon ang sphere power ko kung indeed yan ay -0 o yan ay -1. So, ang gagawin ko, introduce ko yung duochrome. Kapag nag-introduce ako ng duochrome, maglalagay ako ng plus 0.50. Para saan ulit yun? To slightly relax the patient's accommodation. And in the process, when I put plus 0.50 on top of my -1, this will pull now the focus slightly in front of the retina, right? Right? Okay. Now, di ba ano ang sabi natin? Ideally, dapat the white color should be exactly on the retina so that red and green are equidistant from the retina, right? Oh, so we would also assume in this case that yellow is indeed here, exactly on the retina. And that red and green has the same distance from Y, right? Are you following? Now, as you put in plus 0.50, this will slightly pull the focus in front of the retina, so yung red, lalapit konti ng bahagya sa retina. Tama? So that when you ask the patient, are the letters on the red and green backgrounds equally dark or equally clear? So again, dun kay Loida ba yun? Loida, you
Yes po.
Ito ba ay kapatid ni Divine?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, kung na-pull ang red closer to the retina, ano yung expected response mo sa pasyente? Are the letters equally clear on the red and green backgrounds? Siyempre, sasabihin ng pasyente, letters on red darker. Oh, di ba alam niyo yung rim and grip? Tama? Oh, so red. Mag-i-increase ako ng minus. So, syempre, pinatungan mo yan ng ng plus 50, magiging minus 50 na lang yan. So, kapag sinabi yan letters on red darker, mag-i-increase ako ng minus, magiging 75. Tama? Oh, kapag tinanong ko ulit, sige, isa pa, are the letters on the red and green backgrounds equally clear or equally dark? Patient would tell you, yung letters on red pa rin darker. Oh, edi increase mo na naman, -1 ka na. So sa -1, nagtanong ka ulit. Oh, letters on red or letters on green darker? Ang sabi niya, pantay na ang pagka-dark sa red and green backgrounds. So ibig sabihin, tama ang -1 mo. Okay? Naintindihan? So, duochrome is actually checking for sphere power. Now, kapag ang pasyente mo ay nagsabi na, nung in-introduce mo naglagay ka ng +50, never would your patient report letters on green darker. Otherwise, ulitin mo yung unfogging mo. Baka mali yung iyong spherical power. Okay? Okay? Naintindihan? Naintindihan? Okay. Now, liitan na natin. I-share ko. Oh,
Doc, may question pala.
yes.
Yung sa mga test chart po, mga Snellen, yung mga paper charts, may red and blue kasi doon. I-share ko lang po paano siya ginagamit. Yung bars po na red at
Yung ganito?
yes po.
Yung ganito?
Conceptions po ata about it.
Saan siya? Teka, maghanap tayo ng ano ha? Teka, liitan ko lang kayo. Punta tayo ng Google, ay ng ano. Ito. Actually, ang dami na nagtatanong ha? Snellen chart. Images, Snellen chart. Paano ko ba ipapakita to sa inyo? Teka. Ito kasi yan. No. Nakikita nyo ba? Yung Snellen chart, nakikita nyo? Paano mo palakihan to?
Kita naman po.
O, kita. Alam nyo, ito lagi yung problema, no? Tinatanong ko ano tong red na to, tsaka yung green na line na yan. Wala yan. Hindi rin yan dukrong. Wala siya. Wala siyang silbi dyan. In-underline mo lang yung 2020 tsaka yung line na 2030. Pero wala yan. O sige, kayo, meron ba nagsabi sa inyo kung para saan yan? Ha?
Wala po. Dok.
Sa LNU, baka
Nakaka-curious.
baka may secret kayong hindi namin alam. Para saan yung linyang yan? Actually, yung etong line na to would also define between the, anong tawag dito? The ideal, yung optimal VA natin from yung lines better than 2020. Oh, wala yan, walang saysay yan. Ewan ko. Kung meron man, hindi ko alam. Meron ba? Kayo, sa tingin nyo, meron? Oh, kasi para sa akin, wala yung linyang yan. It is there for no reason at all. Parang ganon. Okay?
Thank you, Doc.
Okay. So, there. Now, just in case you don't have, or you have not achieved the 2020 line of the whatever chart you have there, whether it's Bailey-Lovie or it's the Snellen chart. Hindi ka nag 2020. What do you do next? You determine for the presence of astigmatism, right? Now, determination for the presence of astigmatism, meron kang iba't ibang targets na gagamitin dyan. Okay? Isa dyan yung Colebrook chart. Isa dyan yung simple lang, yung astigmatic fundial, and yung nasa chart projector, yung clock dial. Etong tatlong to, available yan sa TV chart. Okay? Pero kung chart projector na luma, walang Colebrook, meron kang clock dial. So dapat alinman dyan, alam ninyong gamitin. Okay? So magsimula tayo muna sa clock dial kasi yan yung available sa chart projector. And by the way, sa VECC ba, chart projector pa rin ang ginagamit?
TV na po.
Ento.
TV chart? Parang magkaiba kayo ng sinasabi.
Bago na po kasing clinic, Doc. TV na po yata lahat.
Bago yung clinic. Makaluma na yung itsura nun eh. Sinauna. Nakabarnis pa. Yung ko ba? Parang ganon. Parang yan yung, alam nyo yung una kami nag-aral sa CEU. Ganon yung itsura. Nakabarnis. Alam nyo yun. Buti nga noon, may glass eh. Ito may glass ba? Wala, di ba? Para kang nakakulong. Ewan. Okay. So, anyway, kung TV chart yan, etong tatlong to available sa TV chart. Kung chart projector yan, ang available dun clock dial. Okay? Can anyone tell me how the clock dial is used? How is that used? How is it used? Clock dial. Okay.
Ask po yung patient kung ano yung line, starter line. Then, kung anong line, yung smaller number times 30. Yun po yung axis.
Okay. So magbigay tayo ng example, ha? Kunyari, ang tentative sphere mo, okay? Ang tentative sphere ay -1 with a VA of 2030. So, nag-unfog ka, ang least minus mo ay -1, pero ang VA niya ay 2030 pa rin. Okay? So, kapag i-introduce mo or magdidetermine ka ng astigmatic correction mo, okay? It is important that you do not forget to put in the proper fog. Okay, so on top of the -1, you put in the proper fog of plus 0.50. Okay. Little is the effect of the plus 0.50. It will slightly move the focus in front of the retina, okay? Slightly relaxing the patient's accommodation. Should there be a change in the vision of the patient, it is very minimal, okay? Yung plus 0.50 will not blur out what you see. It's gonna make a difference, but the difference is very slight. Okay, not that much change actually. Now, as you introduce now the clock dial, okay, clock dial, tentative sphere plus your proper fog will give you the sphere used to fog. Okay, now introduce the clock dial. Simply ask your patient, are the lines or are the arms of the clock dial equally dark or equally clear? Okay? If the patient says, yes, they are equally clear, you can actually change if you have the TV chart as your target. You can actually change if you are not sure with this one, because the trouble with the TV chart, yung pagkaitim ng mga target or yung mga astigmatic dial, pansinin nyo, hindi siya ganun ka-dark. Eh di ba, what are factors influencing VA? One is contrast. So minsan, alam nyo, medyo magkakaroon kayo ng modification sa VT number 7 ninyo. Sasabihin mo, sinunod ko naman yung procedure, pero bakit mas nagre-respond ang pasyente ko sa ganitong lente kapag mas pabor sa kanya yung ganito kesa dun sa nakuha ko? May dinadagdag pa ako kasi parang kulang daw. Kasi remember, marami tayong dapat na i-consider when we do refraction. Okay? So, yun. Now, you can actually change the target and use the astigmatic fan dial instead. Okay, but nevertheless, kung halimbawa ito ang pinagamit sa inyo, so tatanungin mo lang ang pasyente, are the arms of the clock dial equally dark or equally clear? Or are the lines of the clock dial equally dark or equally clear? In the presence of an astigmatism, hindi yan dapat pare-parehas. Okay? Hindi yan dapat pare-parehas. Meron dyan magi-stand out. So halimbawa, ang sinabi ng pasyente ay yung 12 and 6 ang darkest. 12 and 6. To determine the axis of the correcting cylinder, you will choose the smaller number between 12 and 6, which is 6. Simply multiply this to 30 to get your axis. Okay? So ang axis ay 6 times 30, di 180. Okay? Ganun ba sa LNU? Ganun ba sa LNU?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, so halimbawa, ang sabi niya, ang mga dark ay 12, 1, 2, 8, 7, and 6. Oh, anong kukunin mo dyan? Ang kukunin mo yung gitna. Huwag ka na magbilang ng ano yung pinakamaliit na numero sa kanilang 6. Kunin mo na lang yung gitna. Doon ka na lang mamili between 1 and 7. Okay? So 1 and 7, pinakamaliit ay 1, edi multiply mo sa 30, edi 30 ang axis mo. Okay? Tentative axis. Naintindihan? Ngayon, kung ang iyong pagpipilian naman ay ito sa fan dial, are the lines equally dark? Or are the spokes equally dark or equally clear? If the patient says, no, they are not equally dark. No, they are not equally clear. Simply ask your patient which appears to be darkest. Okay? Ngayon, kung halimbawa sinabi niya, ang pinaka-dark ko po ay ang dalawang to, yung 110 and 120. Ang tawag po doon ay power meridians. Power meridian po yan. Naintindihan? Ngayon, kunin nyo yung gitna. Ang gitna ay 115. Okay? 115. Ngayon, syempre kung power meridian yan, ang hinahanap mo ay axis. So 90 degrees away from 115 is 25. So isa-set mo doon sa iyong phoropter, ilalagay mo axis, ano nga ba? 125 minus 90. Tama ba ako? 125 minus 90. 35 ba? 35? Okay. So 35 ang iyong cylinder axis. Okay? So, yaan po yung pag-determine ng cylinder axis. Ngayon, kung astigmatic fan dial ninyo ay merong dagdag na rotating disc, you call this the Colebrook chart. Paano po ito ginagawa or paano po dinidetermine ang axis dito? Natatandaan pa? Natatandaan pa? Natatandaan? Wala, hindi na sumasagot.
Dok, sa amin, Dok, doon sa El Inyo, Dok, is just only the clock dial and fan dial. Hindi po namin yan na-experience yung number 1 po.
Ah, ito?
Yes, Dok, yung cold brook, hindi namin yan na-experience, Dok.
Kasi meron to sa TV chart. So, dapat alam nyo ito. Okay? So, ganito ang kwento niyan. Kung Colebrook chart ang inyong gagamitin, ganun din ang itatanong nyo sa pasyente. Oh, meron ako nakalimutang banggitin. Yung pinaka-importante. When you are the patient and you are facing the astigmatic fan dial, 0 will always be to your left. Tandaan yun ha, 0 is always to your left. O syempre, kung 0 mo sa left, 180 mo sa right, ha? Ha? Naintindihan? Okay. So kapag ganito, on top of your tentative sphere is your proper fog. You introduce the Colebrook chart. Okay? Simply ask the patient, are the spokes or are the lines equally clear? Okay? Ngayon, pag sinabi ng pasyente, hindi po sila equally clear, pwede pong sabihin sa akin kung ano po yung pinaka-dark. Okay. Kapag sinabi niya, dito muna tayo ha, kasi medyo malabo to. Paano ba to palakihan? Ay, ito, malalakihan pala. Okay. So, halimbawa, bakit ganito to? So, kunyari, ang sabi niya, yung nasa gitna po yung pinaka-dark. Yung gitna, pinaka-dark, power meridian mo yon. Okay? Ito kasing rotating disc na to. Kaya nga rotating, naiikot mo siya. Okay? LNU, nasusundan ako? Naiikot mo siya. Ngayon, yung inverted V, ito inverted V to. Okay? Ituturo mo siya sa 90. Okay? Sa 90. Okay, so nakaturo sa 90. So aakalain mo ba na meron ka ng tentative axis na 180? Hindi pa po doon, tapos, okay? Etong rotating chart na may inverted V, ito. So, imagine niyo kunyari 90 to. Kunyari 90 to, ha? LNU. Kunyari 90 to, nakaturo si inverted V. Ang tatanungin mo sa pasyente ay, are the arms of the inverted V equally dark? Are the arms of the inverted V equally dark? If the patient says yes, they are equally dark, then you have the tentative axis of 180. Okay? Pero pag sinabi ni pasyente ay ganito, hindi po sila equally dark. Okay, kung hindi equally dark, ibig sabihin, merong darker, merong less dark. So tatanungin mo sa pasyente, okay, which appears to be the blurry arm, or less dark na arm, or less clear na arm. Kapag halimbawa sinabi niya, yung nasa left ko po, yung nasa left niya, you will turn 5 degrees towards blurred side. Okay? Blurred side. So meaning to say, kung nakaturo sa 90, iikutin mo ngayon yung iyong inverted V papunta sa blurred side. Nasa ng blurred side? Yung left. So pag inikot mo siya, saan na siya nakaturo? Saan na siya nakaturo? Sa 95 o sa 85? Saan na siya nakaturo? Sa 95 o sa 85? CEU, LNU, anyone?
85. 85.
Nakaturo na siya
85.
sa 85. Sa 85. Okay? Ngayon, Pag tinanong mo ulit, are the arms of the inverted V equally clear or equally dark? Pag sinabi niyang, yan, parehas na silang equal na yung pagka-blurry niya, or equal na yung pagka-dark niya, or equal na yung pagka-clear niya. Basta equal. Okay? So, yun na yung tentative axis mo. So, 85 plus 90 is 175. So, you set now your cylinder axis to 175. Naintindihan? Tama ba ako? 90 plus 85. 175. Yeah. 175. Okay? Naintindihan? Now, ang next mong gagawin ay to determine, because you now have your tentative axis, you will now determine the cylinder amount. The cylinder amount will be determined by how the appearance of your square sets of lines are. They should be equally dark, equally clear. Pero dahil ang power meridian mo ay nasa vertical, kunyari vertical to kasi 92 kanina eh, okay? Nasa vertical. Natural, yung square sets of lines na yung lines ay running parallel to your power meridian, yun ang mag-a-appear na darker para sa pasyente. So ito yung parallel dyan. So ito yung sasabihin niya na mas darker. Okay? Mas darker. So you now begin to add cylinder lenses in quarter diopter steps to equalize the square sets of lines. Okay? Naintindihan? Hanggang sa sila ay magkaparehas na. Pero meron tayong ruling na kapag ikaw ay nag-increase ng minus 0.50 sa cylinder component mo, nag-iiba ang spherical component mo. Tama? Nagdadagdag ka ng plus 0.25. Tama? Okay. Hanggat hindi nagpapantay, dagdag ka ng dagdag, and at the same time, ino-observe mo yung change on the spherical component. You will be adding plus 0.25 each time you are adding minus 0.50 to your cylinder component. Do you understand? Kapag pantay na yan, you stop and then you remove your proper fog. You check the VA of your patient. Yun. So may tentative prescription ka na. Okay? So anong gagawin mo dun sa tentative prescription? Siyang mag-check ka na, ipa-finalize mo na yung iyong cylinder component sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng Jackson cross cylinders. Okay? So yung Jackson cross cylinders mo ay, it is what? How is it described? The Jackson cross cylinder is also called your flip lens, your flip cross lens. Okay? Ang technique na tawag po dyan ay Jackson cross cylinder technique or yung flip cross technique. Flipping lens mo yan sa pag-check ng iyong cylinder, pag-finalize ng iyong cylinder axis first and then the cylinder amount. Okay? It is actually a spherocylindrical lens na kung saan meron kang dalawang powers existing in one lens. You have on one side a minus 0.50 cell. On the other side, you have a plus 0.50 cell. Okay? Na kung saan, the power of the cylinder is twice the power of the sphere and of the opposite sign. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Kapag dinetermine mo ang power ng iyong Jackson cross cylinder, ganito po yan. Okay? Ang ginagamit po natin ay 50 na Jackson cross.
Doc,
Yes.
pwedeng magtanong bago para. Dok, ano kasi, yung sinasabi mo kanina, for every, for every, minus 50 cylinder, mag-a-add ng sphere, tama po?
Mag-a-add ka ng plus 0.25 sa spherical
Yeah,
component.
oo. So, hindi po siya, okay. Nagets ko na, Doc. Medyo na-loss lang. Nakuha ko na, Doc. So, for every minus
Okay.
50 cylinder, add ng plus 25 sphere. Okay, Doc. Thank you.
Okay? Hanggang sa magpantay. Pag nagpantay na, tanggalin yung proper fog. Huwag kalimutan tanggalin yung proper fog. Okay? Okay. Gab, can you please open the lamp over there? Okay. So nasusundan. So this is actually what the power of your cross cylinder is. It's a spherocylinder. Okay? So its power is such that the spherical component, or meaning the cylinder component, is twice the amount of your spherical component but of opposite sign. Okay? Opposite ang sign nila. So if you are going to plot this on the optical cross, it's going to give you a minus 50 on one side and a plus 50 on the other side. Marunong kayo mag-optical cross, di ba? Yes. Okay. So, yaan po ang inyong Jackson cross cylinder. So, it is a combination of two cylinders of equal strength but opposite signs. Okay? So, that's a Jackson cross cylinder. Now, if you are going to check the cylinder axis, okay, finalizing the cylinder axis, the position of your Jackson cross cylinder is such that, oh, by the way, letter A is your handheld. Letter B is the one that is mounted on the phoropter head. Okay? This one, yan po yung maliit na dial nila. Yan yung pang-flip ninyo. Diba? Meron kayo niyan? O, alam nyo yan. Okay? So, the position of your Jackson cross cylinder is such that when you're checking for the axis, finalizing the axis, the cylinder handle, the handle of your Jackson cross should be parallel to the tentative axis. So if your tentative axis is 85, you make sure that the handle is parallel to 85. Now in this case, if you are working on the phoropter head, you make sure that the small dials you have on each side of this Jackson cross cylinder, it should be parallel also to 85. Okay? Naintindihan? Now, it doesn't matter where you position red or white ng Jackson cross cylinder for as long as the handle is parallel to the tentative axis. Okay? Naintindihan? Hindi yung, uy, dapat ang red nasa right. Uy, dapat yung white nasa left. Hindi ganon. It does not matter at all. Okay? What matters is that the handle is parallel to the axis. Okay? So, as you do this, okay, alam nyo na ang Jackson cross cylinder ninyo ay may power yan. So, it is not possible to introduce as your target yung best line ng pasyente. Dapat it should be one line above the patient's best line. Naintindihan? Bakit? There is a possibility that it will blur out the best line. So, the best presentation would be one line above patient's best line. Naintindihan? Does that make sense? Okay. So when you do that, you simply ask your patient, you tell me okay, sabihin mo sa pasyente, you tell me if the letters are equally clear through these lenses that I will be introducing. Okay, so there will be two positions or two choices, and simply tell me if they are equally clear in the two positions. Okay, So you introduce, this is lens 1, this is lens 2. If the patient says, ano namang pagkakaiba? Parehas silang clear. So ibig sabihin, tama ang axis mong 85. Okay? Pero kung halimbawa hindi parehas, pakiulit nga. Oh, this is lens 1 and this is lens 2. Which is clearer? Lens 1 or lens 2? Okay? Pag sinabi ng pasyente, mas malinaw si lens 1, anong gagawin nyo?
Move po yung axis towards the red.
You choose the clear position or the blurred position?
Yung clear po.
Here, you choose the clear position. This, ang sinasabi niya, lens 1 daw. So yung first position, clearest. So, from that position, tignan mo kung nasaan ang red dot. Minsan kasi, hindi siya dot. Siya ay line. Okay? So, go back to clear position and then you move either 5 or 10 degrees towards red. Laging towards red side. Okay? Tawag dito, bakit po, pag gumaganito ako, meron din akong ganito doon, no? Ganyan ba talaga? Ang cute naman. Pag gumanito ako, gaganyan din siya. Oh, very nice. Wala. Ay, ba't wala? Okay, so anyway. So, you will be moving 5 degrees. Bakit po 5? Bakit sabi sa libro 10? My God. Pwede mong isagot na meron po kasing mga pasyente na axis sensitive. Axis sensitive. So I cannot possibly move the axis by as much as 10. Okay? Nakikita nila yung diferensya kapag minove as much as 10. So pa-utay-utay tayo. Utay-utay meaning to say, maliliit na hakbang lamang. Okay? So you just simply move it by 5 degrees towards red side lagi. So kung na-move mo na siya towards red, tanungin mo ulit. Sige, tanungin kita ulit ha. Are the letters equally clear in the first and second position? Or are the letters equally clear sa lens 1 at sa lens 2? Kapag sinabi ng pasyente, ayan, equal na. Di meron ka ng final axis mo. Okay? Naintindihan? Okay. Ngayon, pag na-finalize mo na yung axis, ano nang susunod na i-finalize? Cylinder amount. Okay? So if I-finalize ang cylinder amount, anong position ng Jackson cross cylinder? The position is such that first position, red parallel to axis. As you flip, second position, white parallel to axis. Okay? So kapag nag-flip-flip ka at sinabi ng pasyente, na namang pagkakaiba, parehas lamang silang clear, tama ang iyong cylinder amount. Pero pag merong pagkakaiba, ito po yung inyong tatandaan. If first position ang sinasagot ng pasyente na clear sa kanya, ibig sabihin, under correction of your minus cylinder, so dapat itinataas mo yung amount ng cylinder mo, pero ang quantity po lamang ay quarter lang, 0.25. So, increasing it by 0.25. And by the way, kapag meron na kayong tentative prescription, okay, hindi pa kayo nag-Jackson cross cylinder, mag-Jackson cross cylinder pa lang kayo. Kung sa tentative prescription nyo, kayo ay 2020 na. Okay, 2020 na. Kapag kayo ay nag-Jackson cross cylinder, i-expect nyo na there should be no change to the prescription, or should there be a change, it is very minimal. Tandaan nyo yan ha, dahil pang-finalize nyo lang ang Jackson cross cylinder. Kasi sa Jackson cross cylinder, may minus 50, may plus 50 ka, di ba? Di ba? Pag meron ka ng tentative prescription at yung pasyente mo ay 20/20, ina-assume mo na single point focus na lang yan na nasa retina. Tama? Eh yung Jackson cross cylinder mo may minus 50 plus 50 yan. Pag flip mo yan, mag-iiba lang ang posisyon ng iyong focus. Pero pag umiba ng posisyon yan, yung posisyon niyan relative to where the retina is, parehas ng distansya lang yan. Okay? Anong ibig kong sabihin? Dun sa finalizing cylinder axis where the handle is parallel to the tentative axis. Okay? Una, sa tentative prescription nyo, di ba, astigmatic yan, dalawang foci. Kapag kayo ay nagre-refract, kinokollapse nyo yung interval of Sturm, nang sa ganon, isang single focus na lang yan. Kung 20/20 yan, ina-assume mo yung dalawang foci na collapse na, yung interval of Sturm, naging single point focus na lang siya. So exactly on the retina. Kapag inintroduce mo ang Jackson cross cylinder na kung saan ang handle ay parallel to the axis, i-split niya ulit yung yung single point focus mo na kung saan dalawa ulit yan, pero equidistant from the retina. Ito, ang effect nito ay yung plus 0.50 sil. Ito, ang effect nito ay yung minus 0.50 sil. Naintindihan ako? Ha? Ito ay ang parallel ang handle sa axis. Magkakaroon ka ulit ng dalawang foci, but these foci are in such that yung distansya nila from the retina ay equidistant. Kaya kung i-rotate mo man yan or i-flip mo man yan, equal ang isasagot ng pasyente sa'yo. Naintindihan? Equal. Ngayon, kapag kayo ay nagpa-finalize na ng cylinder amount, nasaan ang focus mo? Single point focus lang yan. Okay, single point focus lang. Pero yung red parallel sa axis, yung white parallel sa axis. Tama? So ang gagawin lang niyang movement ay kung minus yung nakalagay, pupunta lang siya dito sa likod. Kung i-flip mo, pupunta lang siya dito sa harap. Isa lang. At equidistant from the retina, kung alinman posisyon yung kung nasaan siya, whether sa harap or sa likod. Naintindihan? Naintindihan? Uy, naintindihan? Okay. Let me just check my battery. Wait. Okay, now, depende sa isasagot ng pasyente sa inyo. Depende sa isasagot. Kung ang clearer sa kanya ay ang first position, ibig sabihin you have an undercorrection of your minus cylinder. Okay? So all you have to do is to simply increase. But then again, remember what I told you. Kung kayo sa inyong tentative prescription ay 20/20 na, kung meron mang changes sa axis or sa amount man yan, very minimal lang. Okay? Very minimal lang. Ngayon, kung i-exaggerate natin yung ating example para lang pumasok yung ruling na for every 50 change in your cylinder component, that would equate to a change in your spherical component. So, i-exage lang natin yung ating example. First position clearer, under correction of your minus cylinder, all you have to do is to increase the amount of your minus cell. Okay? Following the ruling, for every 50 increase in your cylinder component, that would also equate to an increase in your spherical component by plus 0.25. So mag-add kayo ng plus 0.25. Pero kapag ang pinili ng pasyente ay second position clearer, ibig sabihin you have an overcorrection of your minus cell. Pag overcorrected ang minus cell, ibababa nyo lamang ang amount, i-reduce. So for every 50 reduction in your cylinder component, that would also equate to a change in your spherical component. You do not add plus 0.25, but you add minus 0.25 instead. Okay? So natatandaan ninyo yan, ha? Okay? Give me a thumbs up or heart kung naintindihan. Ay, wala ring heart, wala ring thumbs up. So, hindi naintindihan. Na, yung iba nandyan pa ba? Tignan ko nga muna. Pakibuksan nga ang inyong mga camera. Tignan ko nga kung nandyan pa kayo. Uy, yung iba nag-ayos na ng buhok. Hindi kaya bumangon na. Bumangon na sa pagkakahiga. Oh, very good. Nandyan pa. Okay, naiintindihan? Then this meeting is being recorded. Okay, School of Optometry.
Dok, hindi po.
Nakalagay sa akin.
Yung kanina lang po yan, Doc, tapos kinancel na din po.
Hindi, kababasa ko lang. Okay, so naintindihan, ha? Okay. So, gusto ko lang makita na nandyan pa kayo. Buhay pa, gumagalaw pa, hindi na stroke. Di ba? Ganun yung kasabihan ng iba. Okay, so we continue. Now, next is there. So wait muna, bago ang reading ad. Ito kasi pang ano to pang gurang to. So mamaya na yan, pang gurang. Dito muna tayo. So, you are done with one eye, so you do the same thing to the other eye. Okay? Now, after ng refraction of the two eyes, meron ka ng prescription. Iisipin mo ba na yun na yun? Hindi. Pwede ka ngayong magduchrome. Kung tinatamad ka, magduchrome ka, no? Kasi single point focus na lang yan di ba? No, single point focus na lang yan. So pwede na mag-apply ang duchrome. Hindi ka po pwede mag-duchrome kung dalawang foci pa meron. Okay. So kung tinatamad ka, magduduchrome ka. Pwede naman ang duchrome. So, sa duchrome, monocular po ha. Hindi po yan binocular. Ngayon, kailan nagiging binocular sa duchrome? O mamaya yung kwento. Now, but the proper thing to do is, remember a while ago, we have discussed that refraction, the subjective refraction, has three phases. Okay, determination of the spherical component, determination of the cylinder amount, and then you do balancing. When you balance, you don't balance the visual acuity. You balance the accommodation of the two eyes. Okay, so you have ways how to equalize the accommodation of the two eyes. One is binocular balancing or equalization test with fog or no fog. It's your choice. Okay, now how do you do this? Binocular balancing, binocular nga di ba? So dapat, ine-expect mo na kapag ikaw ay nagbabalanse, dapat yung dalawang mata mo parehas ang nakikita. You cannot possibly do balancing if the VA of the two eyes are not the same. So, halimbawa, isang 20/20, isang 20/40, pwede ka ba magbalanse? Hindi. So, dapat the same. So, granting, parehas ng 20/20 to, 20/20 to, pwede kang mag-balancing test. Okay? It's your choice if you want to do equalization test with fog or no fog at all. So, whether fog or no fog, may dalawang klaseng methods yan. You have the prism dissociation and you have the alternate occlusion. Natatandaan ba ninyo kung paano to ginagawa? Natatandaan kung paano ginagawa?
Yes po.
Pwede ako mag-CR, naiihi ako. Saglit lang ha, saglit.